Hi, my name is Frank Navarra, and I live in New York City. New York City is known for a lot of things, from skyscrapers to good pizza. The city has a lot of unique things to offer. However, one thing that I see every day in New York City is graffiti. Ever since I was a kid, I would notice the graffiti art on the walls of buildings, stores, establishments, and I truly feel that it gave the area character. Graffiti is considered vandalism by today's laws. However, it's more like art to me. The definition of art, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is something that is created with imagination and skill, and that is beautiful or that expresses important ideas or feelings. It is also defined as works created by artists. Graffiti may be considered vandalism by today's standards, but it is an expression personified throughout an individual's imagination and skill, and that is what makes it art. Graffiti is differentiated by its aesthetics or its message, and it's that message that has impacted society and is why it should be legal. Graffiti has been done by professional, highly skilled artists and actually increases property value and positively impacts business, according to statistics reported by the New York Times and New York Post. As much as I love graffiti, I can admit it represents a challenge to the law. Art is something that tends to serve as a social commentary about the subjectivity of laws, and it can be simultaneously serving a public good throughout its nuanced social commentary and artistry. The social political aspects of modern day society reject the artist and the conditions that create art unless the art is somehow accepted and helping the establishment or government's terms. This is unfair, as graffiti and vandalism are something that are completely subjective and situational, and in many cases they help establishments and communities, drawing crowds of people for tourism and setting a tone for each distinctive artist and area. A prime example of this is the artist Banksy. Banksy is a British street artist and a self-described vandal, and he has become a celebrated figure in the world of elite art. Banksy's work has unintentionally reignited the art of vandalism debate, and throughout the British government being very vigilant in removing his trademark stencil art, they have completely disregarded the positive effects on the community and labeled his work as vandalism. His original works and even the knockoffs have reached unprecedented fame and monetary acclaim over the last decade. His work is often highly satirical and very critical of establishment rules and governmental politics. Now, why is it that Banksy's work is gobbled up by the same people he is critical of, the rich people that buy his work? But yet, his contemporaries are looked at as criminals. Why are they judged so differently? It is as simple as the fact that art and creativity are what fuel neighborhoods and communities. Graffiti is an art comparable to architecture and park design. Why is it that Banksy can't paint a wall purple, but an apartment building down the street from my house can be painted bright green out of nowhere? It doesn't make much sense. As a matter of fact, my dad is a successful building owner in Brooklyn and Queens, and he has been approached many times by street artists and graffiti artists themselves about doing work on the buildings. Whenever they reach an agreement to do work on the buildings, the property value goes up, the neighborhood is more gentrified and has seen more tourism, and businesses in the area tend to do better with more creativity, more art, and more flow in the neighborhood. 30 years ago, hip-hop music was labeled as noise, in a similar way that graffiti was today. I think that graffiti will follow the same trajectory as hip-hop, as perceptions about street art have already drastically changed. For example, in Brazil, during the late 1990s, it was very common for graffiti artists to be harassed or even shot by the police. However, today, many of the same officers support graffiti initiatives for the city beautification and gentrification themselves. They even say that graffiti can be a crime deterrent for former criminals. They understand that graffiti can be a career opportunity for youth artists, and especially in low-income neighborhoods. The growth of graffiti in Brazil and its role of challenging the status quo has demonstrated the power of art and its ability to create dialogue and positively impact communities. In the city of Rio de Janeiro, many leading street artists have put graffiti to good use for social development, founding art schools in low-income neighborhoods and partnering with the police to paint murals in run-down areas. They host large events and big festivals and bring in a lot of tourists. It has had such an effect this year that the mayor of Rio announced the legalization of graffiti, and anybody can do any art on all city property that is not historical. The truth is that despite the acceptance of graffiti, it needed the law so that it can function outside of it for now. This is where innovation is born, and this is where people can see that it makes no sense to criminalize art that has positive effects on urban culture. Had graffiti artists in Brazil painted inside the lines of the law, many internationally acclaimed artists would never have existed. Some people may not like the message or how it is manifested, but that doesn't mean the message and the medium don't have value. Graffiti is art just as much as any city billboard or poster. It would be naive to not take a closer look at how much it can help neighborhoods develop and local artists, properties, and the culture itself. It works in Brazil, and it would work even better in America, where the best artists worldwide reside and are looking for opportunity. You can't limit expression, and you can't tell me graffiti isn't art, even by definition. Graffiti should be legal.